What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a look at Terastal Festival. And we need to talk about what's going on with the prices of Terastal Festival, because, to put it bluntly, yeah, I know it's only been a week. I am fully aware that it's only been a week, but things are changing quite dramatically. Things are going up and down in price. We need to have a chat about this. We'll do like a vague top 10, but we're not really focusing in on this is number 1, this is number 2. What we're looking at here are market moves, what's been going on, and honestly, what's been going on is a little bit surprising in some places. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, to take any suspense out, number 1 and 2 are Umbreon. Number 1 is still the Master Ball version of Umbreon. Remember, I'm showing you the Pokeball version on the screen because we have a nice clear scan of that. But when I'm showing you the Pokeballs in this video, I am actually talking about the Master Balls. It's just easier to show you the Pokeballs because I've got nice clear scans of them. We good? Excellent. And the Special Illustration Rare is still number 2. So no ifs, buts, maybes, no mucking about here. It's still Umbreon. Umbreon is still, but by a bit of a margin, I would say, the most exciting, valuable, phrase it how you will, card in the set. You want your Master Ball to be an Umbreon if you're lucky enough to get one. You want your Special Illustration Rare to be an Umbreon. Okay. In terms of value, we're actually seeing them creeping up just a little bit. So the Umbreon, the Master Ball, since when I showed you before, I told you it was 35,000 yen, it's actually jumped up to 40,000 yen, which is a decent little jump. That's a 5,000 yen jump. 5,000 yen, we're basically talking, it's about $33 in a week. It has jumped up. In terms of the Special Illustration Rare, that's still number 2, but whereas before I showed you it was 32,000 yen, now that one's 39,000 yen. That's a 7,000 yen jump. 7,000 yen, by the way, we're talking about $46. That's a decent jump in the space of a week. And they've actually gotten closer together. Don't get me wrong, the Master Ball is still number 1, but there is a little bit of a jump there, and I find that very, very interesting. And the number 3 and 4 cards are still Sylveon. They were when I showed you the other day, they are still now. Number 3 is still Special Illustration Rare Sylveon. It's weird to me that Umbreon the Master Ball is more expensive and Sylveon the Special Illustration Rare is more expensive, but that's just where we are. The Special Illustration Rare Sylveon I showed you the other day at 10,000 yen. That has now gone up to about 13,000 yen. That's a 3,000 yen jump, which is about $20. Again, in the space of a week, that is significant. And then the Master Ball is still at number 4. When I showed you the other day, that was an 8,000 yen card. It's now an 11,000 yen card. So that same 3,000 yen or $20 jump. But from a smaller base means as a percentage, it's gone up more. So the top 4 cards are still your 2 Umbreon and your 2 Sylveon. But all 4 of those cards have actually gone up in price since I showed you the other day. Yes, I think that's significant. What is more significant, however, is the introduction of a card on this list. Cake Eevee, as everybody's calling it. The current number 5 card in the set. It's coming in at 7,500 yen, which is basically just shy of $50, like $49, about a $50 card. What is important here, however, is the reason why this card is jumping. It's not because Eevee's just that popular. Everyone prefers Umbreon or Sylveon. I've just shown you that. And it's not because it's artwork that's done by a famous baker over in Japan, although that is incredibly cool and we love this. It is because I think a lot of other people have figured out what I figured out. This card is currently unassigned over in, well, the West, outside of Japan, or outside of the Asian territories, because a lot of Asian territories have the same Terastal Festival set that Japan does. But if your set isn't Terastal Festival where the booster pack looks like this, we don't know where Cake Eevee is coming from. And I did a whole video about this the other day, but I want to be super clear in what I'm saying about Cake Eevee. There are 32 special illustration rares in the English set Prismatic Evolutions. There are 33 in the Japanese set Terastal Festival. Ergo, one of them must be cut. Now, I am pretty sure that Cake Eevee is the one being cut. I did a whole video about it the other day. I'm not going to repeat all of that. Go check out that video if you want to know all my reasonings for why that is. But I am pretty sure Cake Eevee is the one being cut. This does not mean that we're not getting Cake Eevee. It means that if we get it, it has to come in a different form somewhere down the line. Maybe it's a promo in one of those boxes that have been announced but not actually revealed yet. Remember, we have a couple products which are coming for Prismatic Evolutions that we were told are coming. We've not actually been given any information whatsoever. So we know that there is a... what's it called? The Prismatic Evolution Super Premium Collection and the Prismatic Evolutions Premium Figure Collection. Maybe it's going to be in the Prismatic Evolution Super Premium Collection. I don't know. We do not have any information one way or the other. It would make sense, but it's by no means guaranteed. And as I explained the other day, the fact that it is a card which is very clearly made to celebrate a Japanese artist, chef, it would make sense. If there's a card that isn't going to come out in the West, this is the kind of card that would make sense to never get here. I showed you the example the other day of the Unigaba cards, like Eevee, for instance, that did never make their way over here. I'm not saying we're not getting Cake Eevee. I'm saying if we get it, it will have to come as a promo, etc. Right now, we have no way of knowing one way or the other what's happening. We just know that it is overwhelmingly likely it's been cut from the set. And maybe it comes as a promo in the Super Premium Collection. Maybe it comes somewhere else. Maybe we don't get it. We have no more information here. We don't know it's being cut from Prismatic Evolutions. But again, I think I made a pretty compelling case the other day. But I don't think it's a coincidence. Since this set came out, when I showed you the top 10 the other day, this card wasn't on it. And yet now it's in at number 5? This is 7,500 yen. When I showed you the other day, the number 10 cards were, because there was a tie between a few, they were 6,000 yen. So this was lower than 6,000 yen the other day. And now it's jumped up into the number 5 spot. I can think of another explanation for this. I am pretty sure this is jumping up because there are people that are speculating that we never get it at all. For what it's worth, a couple of years ago, back in like the Sun and Moon block, there were a bunch of cards that got released in Japan that we just never got. Full Art Clay, for instance. I love Clay, one of my favourite gym leaders. Yeah, I've got a Japanese version of Clay that the lovely Antoine Boulet hooked me up with because that card doesn't exist in English. But in recent years, TPCI have been way better at making sure we get all of these cards. I'm not saying we are getting it. I'm not saying we're not. But I am saying this is my theory as to why Cake Eevee has suddenly jumped in price. Now, the number 6 card in the set is Gold Pikachu. It's coming in at 7,000 yen. And interestingly enough, it has jumped up from number 7 last time. And value-wise, it's jumped up by about 1,000 yen. Now, 1,000 yen isn't a lot of money, frankly. 1,000 yen is, well, it's about £5 in English. In American dollars, it's exactly $6.50. As I record, it's exactly $6.50. What's important here is that a week in, these sets are usually dropping in price quite dramatically. What we generally see a week after the release of a set over in Japan is that the prices are dropping dramatically. But I showed you that both the Umbreon jumping in price, both the Sylveon jumping in price, Cake Eevee jumped into the top 10 list, and Gold Pikachu jumping in price. All of the top 6 cards in the set right now are cards which are notably more expensive than they were when I showed you this list the other day. I don't think this is a coincidence. The set as a whole is going up. Now, after that, if we go for number 7 and 8, it's actually just Espeon. It's the Master Ball Espeon and the Special Illustration Rare Espeon. Basically, what's going on with this set is people are putting the Master Balls and the Special Illustration Rares roughly the same, and just picking the Pokemon. So Umbreon becomes the most sought after of the evolutions, Sylveon comes in second, and Espeon comes in the bronze medal position. Kind of makes perfect sense. And to be fair, the Espeon was on this list the other day. It was in number 6. It was 6,500 yen. This was actually dropped a tiny bit, down to 6,000 yen. We've had like a $3 drop here, which is basically the same as saying it's not really dropped at all. And then we've had the Espeon Master Ball, which, this is weird, because we basically had this tied with Glaceon and Sylveon in at number 8 to 10 last time, at about 6,000 yen. It's now jumped up to 7, which kind of tells us that Espeon is, the Master Ball's jumped up by 1,000, Special Illustration Rare's gone down by 500. It's not huge changes, but of all the cards I've shown you so far, the smallest change has been the Special Illustration Rare Espeon, and that's the only one that's gone down. All the others have gone up. And the last point I think that is really relevant to make is in terms of, I said about picking the Pokemon. Well, what I find very, very interesting, last time around I told you 8 to 10 was basically a tie between Espeon and then Leafeon and Glaceon, your Gen 4 EVs. Well, since then, the Gen 1 EVs, your Flareon, Vaporeon and Jolteon have actually jumped up. So now, and annoyingly, it would actually be 9, 10 and 11. Boom! They're all tied. They're all like 6,000 yen. And actually tied with Special Illustration Rare Espeon for what it's worth. But I do find it interesting they've actually jumped ahead of Leafeon and Glaceon. None of these cards are particularly playable, so it's a pure popularity contest, and the Gen 1 have jumped to the Gen 4. The big stories here, cards are going up. All of these cards are going up. Every card I've shown you in this video, other than Special Illustration Rare Espeon, is actually going up. And Cake Eevee has forced its way onto the list. I'm going to be really interested to see what happens if and when we get the announcement that we're going to be getting it in English. Because if this is just a promo that appears in a box, I think we're going to be seeing the Japanese version of this card drop quite quickly in price. If it actually ends up being a Japanese exclusive, which I don't think it is, but if it does end up being an exclusive, that's going to be really, really interesting indeed. People are speculating. I'm going to leave that over to you guys. For now, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know what you're excited about from this set. I want to know what you pulled. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel, like the lovely Unknown One, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time, is a very lovely person, and yeah, shoutouts to them for being great. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.